right, we've all heard of the talk that parents have with their kids, as in the birds and the bees. But as we get older, experts say families really need to have the other talk about the later years of life.
Yep, and you need to have that talk now, not after a crisis strikes. So here to give us some practical advice on what can be a difficult discussion is Tim Prosch. He's author of The Other Talk, a guide to talking with your adult children about the rest of your life. Thanks so much for joining us this morning, Tim.
Hey, it's great to be with you both.
Let's start with the basic question. Why should parents have this talk with their children, and what happens if they don't?
Well, what I say to all parents is you need to have this talk now. A quick note on my own personal experience. I was involved in a boating accident and ended up in the emergency room with 50 stitches, and I couldn't move and I couldn't speak, but I could think. And what I thought to myself, and I'm writing the book, why didn't I have the other talk before we went on vacation? And what my point is you can never predict the crisis, so you need to have the talk before the crisis hits.
Okay, this is your book right here. We all know that financial decisions are important to discuss, but what other areas need to be covered as well?
Well, financials is certainly important, but it's really, the book is really about the rest of your life. And so there's questions like, where do you want to live when you get to a point where you can't take care of yourself? Many people say they want to live in their house forever. That's not always practical. Some people say they want to live in a retirement or assisted living. But if you can have that conversation now and not have it forced on you when you're in crisis, you're better off. Medically, who's going to advocate for you when you can't advocate for yourself? And your kids need to understand what your medical needs are. And of course, when you get to the end, how do you want to be treated? Do you want a DNR? What's your will? Many issues there need to be discussed too. So it really kind of runs the gamut. It's not just about one thing.
Right.
And Tim, what age do you think is good for the parents to be discussing these things with their children? Is it too early ever to start these sort of discussions?
I don't think so, because think of the Terry Schiavo case. You remember that back a few years ago? Here was a situation where this poor woman was yanked back and forth between her husband and her parents because they never sat down and had this conversation. So do it now is my message.
We got the message. This is your book, The Other Talk. We're going to have a link also on our website. We'll hopefully be also posting this interview for anyone who might have additional questions. So thanks so much for joining us this morning to talk about The Other Talk.